Hey friends, you are listening to how to get the social media images you need in a photo shoot. I chose this particular topic because having spent 8 years in commercial photography, doing everything from stuff for personal brands to product brands to various different business to business type services, I've had a lot of experience with planning shoots, coordinating them, trying to pull out the vision from business owners, having to understand how they're using images, where they're using them, and what they really need to help also advise them and make sure that we're getting the content that's going to work best. So having spent so much time doing this, I felt like this was an important topic to cover so that I could help other business owners, maybe just like yourself, learn to kind of get some of the social media images that you're needing. Because a lot of times we go through and we approach a photo shoot, and that photo shoot is maybe for, say, a website or something like that, and we don't know how to make sure that we're getting the most out of it, and we're not sure how to be specific about what we need without necessarily stumping someone's creativity. So that's kind of what we're going to dive into today. So, in a content-driven world, it's all about the number of unique images you have to work with. And right now, video is crazy, but images are still king and they are still needed in a lot of places for websites, ads, and just a variety of different things, print materials, and so forth. Working with a lot of product businesses, they need photos even more than other businesses do. And so oftentimes people will struggle with getting the images they need. And that's why I've pulled together a few ways to help you, the business owner, get the images you need from a photo shoot to produce the best content as well. Because we all know that we're using social media to market our businesses on a consistent basis. So having the right kind of images that are going to help us do that is just as important as having the right images on your website. And that's why a lot of times those photo shoots are two very different things. And when it comes to social media or just marketing in general, what's most cost effective isn't always the most ideal either. And that's why when I say sometimes two photo shoots, people are like, oh, how can I possibly afford to do that? And that's why it's wise to have a few different photo shoots though, because you want to make sure you're getting the right things for the right places. Because a website, what's going to work on a website, it needs to be cohesive and consistent there. Isn't going to maybe give you enough variety for what you're needing to really fuel the marketing that you're trying to do over on, say, Instagram, for example. So that's why it is wise to have a few different photo shoots, kind of plan ahead. That way you'll know what to say for, and maybe it's just a couple times throughout the year that you're able to be very pointed and specific to get what you need. And most business owners can fail here at step one, starting from strategy because they work backwards. They begin creating content using photos from a previous photo shoot. Often these photos were, like I said, for the website, so they're not exactly designed to get across the right point. And you do all of these things before you have even established a marketing strategy or a firm direction in your content. So I would say if you're going to start somewhere, start from strategy. Strategy often gets confused with the content plan or the execution of strategy, but it's not the case. Your marketing strategy should be the foundation and outline for your overall goals, objectives, marketing channels, what KPIs you're going to use to measure success on those channels. And KPIs are key performance metrics or key performance indicators. And then from there, you can lay out exactly where you're going to need content, how you're going to be showing up, and how you're going to use that content. And then you can begin identifying the types of things that you're going to want to test and start sharing in the world. And as you begin creating the content plan itself, which is the actual, fun part that everyone likes to jump to, you will be able to determine which aspects of your services or products that you want to share and quickly arrive at the type of content you're going to need. And then that really helps you get focused in on what you're going to want for the photo shoot. And it can be easy to skip this step because as a business owner, it sometimes feels like you know everything about your product or your business and your services in your mind, when in actuality, it can be very beneficial to stop and ask for outside perspective in order to better understand what it is that others really want to know. Because you might know your business in and out. You might know all of the amazing things about your product or the things it can do, but you might forget that your outside audience has no idea. And so really going and starting with the strategy and breaking it down to what you want to talk about, what you need to do to connect, how you're going to connect with them from an emotional standpoint, all of those things is going to be extremely important to the success of your content. And it helps you, again, then focus down on getting into the content planning itself. So you'll say that you're going to feature that this amazing water bottle is made out of recycled materials. It's still able to be recycled once, used, or, anything like that. And you want to show how easy it is to pop off the lid and be able to have a drink while you're out on a hike without having to fidget with the lid. Maybe that's the feature that you're wanting to talk about. And so now you know that you need that. So what is it going to be in the form of a photo, form of a video, where are you going to be sharing it at, and all of those things kind of helps you backtrack into what you're really going to need for a photo shoot. So you can be specific about that without limiting the creativity. Like, hey, I want to point out this particular feature of this product. I'm leaving it up to you to decide creatively what that might look like. But do be specific. Creative reign matters, but it's important to clarify how you specifically want the images to come together. As a creative and a commercial photographer myself, I know this for a fact. Each person will see and envision an image differently. So it's important to provide specific information, but also allow your photographer to have some space to capture and create. So even just saying like, hey, I want to point out this particular feature. I don't, mind if you have some creativity on how or what exactly it might look like, whether it's video or photo, but this is what I want to focus on. Give some direction and some specific feature that you're going to need in order to market your business correctly. And so it's because everyone, obviously is going to envision everything differently. It also allows your photographer then the space to create and come up with something that might be fun, something you may not have thought of. And in this case, specific means just providing the direction. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to micromanage the process, but even just saying, types of images that you need to best connect with your audience and having those things identified will make sure that you're getting the right kind of photos that you want every single time that you're shooting, instead of necessarily just, relying solely on that person who may or may not have 8 years of experience and be able to kind of guess what you're trying to do or get the point across. So let's say you want to share, how to use a GIF. You will want to outline that you need a minimum of 3 to 10 images that will show you how to press the button, scoop the product, try it on, show the back and what it looks like, any of those things about the product. So let's say that you want a GIF, right? And that that's the case. Then the detail is just saying, hey, by the way, I want to feature the product as this, 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 and this. And I need you to take that and put it into 3 to 10 images for me so I can clip it together and make my own GIF. So those kinds of things are great about being specific without limiting necessarily how they might do that, what the setup might look like, and how it might actually come across in the end, but you're able to, again, make sure you're getting exactly what you need. So being specific gives the creative reign and gives the photographer the creative freedom that they need to be able to do what they do best and envision your images to look a certain way while still getting what you need to be able to market your business effectively. Now get down to the details. Thinking about props and backdrops, do's and don'ts is no one's favorite part. You're busy. You need to market. You want to get down to making money, right? That's what we're here for. We're making businesses because we want to be able to make money in a different way. But this is another key piece in the photo shoot chain to ensure that your content is on point and it represents your brand well. So if you're kind of worried about, what kinds of things are going to be involved, then getting down to the details is an important step in communicating your photo shoot vision and achieving the images you need to create your best content for your brand. So consider your branding. Do you have lots of color and you want to keep it that way? You probably need to highlight 2 to 3 specific background colors that you would desire to have in your photo shoots. If you're expecting to have lots of pops of color present and you want to keep that very obvious to your brand, then you want to make sure that you say, hey, by the way, I don't mind how you might mix this up, but I need to make sure that I have, hot pink, yellow, and blue. Here are the hex codes of what I'm thinking. Because a lot of commercial photographers will actually get custom backgrounds done and can offer that as an option to be able to make sure that we're pulling in your brand colors and everything stays on point and very well connected, and it keeps those pops of color very involved because not everybody is 100% neutral. Most of us have color somewhere in our brand. So you don't want to, necessarily, again, manage the specifics of every single thing. You don't have to get that detailed down to every specific shot of what background needs to be what, but letting a photographer know that you need specific colors or specific props or elements and things like that involved in your photos is really going to take things a step further and making sure that you're getting something that well represents your brand and your business or your product. So let's talk about what you don't like. This should be easy, but after 8 years, I can tell you it's actually the one thing that's usually left blank on the questionnaire for the photo shoot almost every single time. And it's hard because people are like, wait, I don't know what I don't like yet. And I get that. I won't get into the why necessarily, but I can tell you that you need to clarify and identify, props, flowers, colors, or specific things that do not fit your brand, because those are equally as important as what does. Because there's nothing worse than going through and investing the money and getting all the photos and stuff done for your content. And then, they're using, I don't know, mala beads or, eucalyptus or something like that you feel like does not fit the brand or the product or, the details behind it. Or maybe you have specific natural ingredients that are very important to be used and you don't want certain things shared in the photos because it might come off as the misconception those things are also used in your products. So that's why it's very important to kind of stop and say, okay, if I was going to look at flowers, if I was going to look at backdrops, if I was going to look at stones and textures and things, what types of things might not fit my brand? Even though they're visually beautiful, they may not fit exactly what I'm looking for to showcase my product or service. So, to highlight an example, say you have an earthy, sustainable vitamin like the brand Ritual. You in your mind, it's healthy, it's made from natural ingredients, has no synthetic casing, any of those types of things. What you may fail to mention is that you want it to be relevant to the everyday millennial lifestyle, not directly related to plants or dirt or farming. So you see here how even though the product itself is very earthy and sustainable, they don't want it to be related so much to the plants and the dirt and the things that do tend to come to mind when we think about that. They want it to be related to more of the millennial lifestyle, the everyday. Is it on the go? Are they, a parent who's holding a child while they're taking their vitamins in the kitchen and, getting ready to make their protein shake and things like that? So those things are really specific. So your photographer could run off with the vision of having this pill sprouting out of the earth from a little green leaf and, have all these things going on. And while that might work for some photos, you have no models, no lifestyle elements, and you're not able to show that it's, an in-home product, really tying back to the family and the overall health of everybody involved. And then you feel like it doesn't truly align with the marketing and the strategy and goals that you're trying to achieve. So to get the images you need for your next photo shoot, make sure you start with a strategy, then get specific on some of those details, the do's, the don'ts, the things you like, you don't like, what kind of backgrounds and things are involved, what elements are very important for your brands, and get down to those details. And don't be afraid to say, hey, here's a list of some things. I just want to share these with you just so that you have an idea of what we're trying to achieve, and then give them that creative freedom to then create within some boundaries to make sure that things are still going to be on track with what you want. And this is coming from a photographer, so don't be shy. Make sure to say the things, speak up, let your photographers know what you need so that your content and your social media marketing is exactly what you're hoping it will be and starts to convert and make the sales that you're wanting, because your business is here to make business. So I hope this blog has been super helpful for you. If you have any questions, you can find me over on Instagram at instagram.com/crystalclear_creative studios.